Good morning. Please take your seats. And let me offer you all a very warm welcome here to the Barony Hall, one of the jewels in the crown of the university's estate, where we do many things in here. We have professional meetings, we have gala events, dinners, but most importantly, we have our graduation ceremonies for our wonderful graduands who are sitting before me in the hall and arrayed behind us here on the stage, about to become Strathclyde graduates, some of them for the second time. And a very warm welcome to the families and friends and supporters of these excellent people who have been working hard to get their Strathclyde degrees, whatever it may have been. You should know also that on an annual basis, Strathclyde graduates about 4,500 people from this hall, a veritable army of Strathclyde talent going out to change the world, whether it's engineers, scientists, business majors, or those in humanities and social sciences. And it's the most enjoyable part of our academic calendar to celebrate their achievements and also to have many of the parents and the families and friends see what's happening here. And of course to celebrate, because many of them are coming off the payroll quite soon. We'll need to check if that's true in terms of the employability. So to the graduates, you're going to be hearing your names called out. You will of course be lined up, you'll come across the stage, whereupon I will cap you. And at that moment, the degree will be formally conferred upon you. It's an ancient and most enjoyable event just to mark publicly your achievements and have the degree passed to you. This piece of furniture that I'm standing behind, this kneeler as it is, this is how we used to graduate, where the graduand would come across and kneel in front of the Vice-Chancellor or the Chancellor where they be capped. They were a bit more egalitarian than that these days. I much prefer to look you in the eye, if I can. Most of you are taller than me, but look you in the eye as I cap you. But I have knelt on this 3 times in my academic career, for my bachelor's, my master's and PhD. So as I'll tell you a little bit more about later, you're graduating from a university that's over 200 years old, so there is gravitas in your institution and many years of contribution to society. But this year we're also celebrating our Diamond Jubilee celebration, because it was then we got our Royal Charter from the late Queen. And this mace that sits before us is an indication that as we award your degree, it's with the authority of the Crown that we have that degree awarding power. So there's some seriousness to the occasion, but of course we want you to enjoy yourself. So those of you here to support, please note that you're not here to feel uncomfortable. And as your member of your family or a friend crosses the stage, do let them know you're here, within reason. But we want you to enjoy yourself and have this place filled with joy and excitement. So with that, I will formally declare this congregation open, and we will now invite Professor Galloway to read out the names. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourselves.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Engineering in Wind and Marine Energy Systems and Structures, Jade McMorland. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in the Department of Design, Manufacturing and Engineering Management, Malik Youssef Al-Mubarak. Angus Coyne Grell. Beatrice Krokow. Anias Karkasinas. Michael King. For Research in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, Katrina Santos Kalatit. Jonathan Draper. James William Kazimierz Nash. Shuran Shao. For research in the Department of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, Marvin Stewart Wright. Hello there. For research in the Department of Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering, Mohammed Iqbal. Paul Lee. Adebayo Oji. For the degree of Master of Philosophy for research in the Department of Design, Manufacturing and Engineering Management, Adam Salim. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Manufacturing, Technology and Systems, Haidar Anjum. Bagheerad Babu Kodi. Angus Francis McClellan. Cameron Gregor Morrison. And in Design Engineering, Greg Beattie. Pierre Leo Charcot. Kieran Doak. Spurthi Kani Paddy. Timothy John MacLeod. Mohammed Abdullah Mughal. Pranvakumar Nilesh Patel. Melissa Steele. Cleo Hoi Yun Sung. In Design Engineering with Advanced Product Development, Biswa Salim Kumar. Imaya Ganesh Salvadaju. Samuel Alexander Watson. Lei Chen Zhu. In Digital Manufacturing, Mukesh Arvind Selvaraj. In Engineering Management for Process Excellence, Matthew Ayres. Sivraj Sanjay Deshmukh. Mark William Hendry. William Ingram. Sankalpa Joshi. Hari Krishnan Puliyan Kodan. Chaitanya Tarwadi. Yenti Francisca. In Engineering Project Management, Dimitrios Zaras. In Mechatronics and Automation, Andrew Stewart William Chapman. Mamit Hemraj Chowdhury. Claire Wangari Kanina. Vigneshvar Prabhu Shamugam. Abhijit Padmukamar Velodi. In product design, Carolyn Carmona. Abhishek Kuti Apan Chandran. J. Manish Baisha. Shi Cheng Shao. Jishuang Yang. In supply chain and logistics management, Ragda Hussein Abdul Wahab. Delaney Freddy Hotel Walla. Azkar Sharif Ibrahim Sharif. Prabha Nagarajan Sheila. Prabudh Krishna Pramod Antitha. Ashwin Manuel Romeo. Rionel Angelo Varela. In supply chain and procurement management, Shuriya Ishmaila Decoy. In supply chain and sustainability management, Oliver Cameron Beecroft. Yeo Shuai. In systems engineering management, Ryan Allen. Stuart Coop. Pablo de Medina Pella. Mark Don Levy. Matthew Hurd. Craig Stewart Holiday. Daniel Robert Hootie. Bruce Victor Langridge. David Law. Ryan McMillan. James Alexander Paul Morton. Craig Mackenzie Reid. Caris Catherine Flores Ceres. Jacob Liam Taylor Byrne. In advanced materials engineering, Gregory May Wilson. In advanced mechanical engineering, Rory Boyd. Callum Murray Christie. James Andrew Cole. Akraf Wasim Hebachi. Abdul Javid. Nicholas Hervey Martin. Gokul Srinivasan. Jamie John Thulis. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering Online Learning, Grant Scott Hutchison. Alan Thomas Johnston. Morgan Dean Ramanakska. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Aerospace, Mark David Cox. Paul Stephen Kellal Armas. Oh. Erin Shaw. Maximilian. Yeah, excuse me. Maximilian Dillon. Paul Stephen, so where are we? Erin Shaw, no, excuse me. Paul? Ashwaith, my apologies, getting myself mixed up. Swachi Shurdi Vardi. Thank you. Callum Weir. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Energy Systems, Callum Lewis Alexander. Winston Chude Oji. Tharun Thankachan. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Materials, Ahmed Imad. In Satellite Data for Sustainable Development, Jaya Srivathava. In Sustainable Engineering, Renewable Energy Systems and the Environment, Mior Muhammad Sidak bin Nur Arzam. Essane Gabel. Dagi Jemana Pasif Hondari. Ronex Sumali. Nicholas Plunkett. In Advanced Naval Architecture, Ong Cheet San. Yoon Choi. Saeed Uzama Rizvi. Zaid Kasim Sultan. Tharafi Twa. In Marine Engineering, Maria Borica. Alexandros Mikael Chumas. Dimitrios Kampouris. Kian Kasim Ogorka. Tianqi Zhang. In offshore wind energy, Tajiwini Banari Gudi Gaviyana. Adeko Akija Collymore. Madhanesh Gahesan. Ross Patterson. In ship and offshore structures, Han Ju Yang. In sustainable engineering, offshore renewable energy, Tanya Azara. Ioannis Stamatiu. In technical ship management, Modeen Mohammed Rashid. Prastya Rizki Ramadan. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Product Design Engineering, Kanlan Magee. Gregor Stratford. In Aeromechanical Engineering, Pablo Alvarez Icaza. Jamil Cathcart. Kamran Ali Hussein. Niamh Charlotte O'Neill Berest. In Mechanical Engineering, Callum Bowmaker. In Naval Architecture with Ocean Engineering, Rhys Marshall. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Product Design Engineering, Praise Adebo. Oliver Dobson. Benjamin Wilson. In Engineering, Design and Manufacture, Mark Thomas Bradley. Molly Richards Caffrey. Cameron George Campbell. Ewan Christie. John Davey. Ryan Paul Devine. Russell Finlay. Dylan Gochan. Blair Gilmore. Rachel Ann Grant. Fraser Guthrie. Marcus Patrick Hall. Jack Alexander Harrington. Lewis Hepburn. Ruth Elspeth Iroshikabila. Liam Gary Kirkwood. Jack Leslie. Daniela Marico. Douglas Mason. Iona McCulloch. Tom McElwain. Torrin Fraser Mackenzie. David John McNeill. Harry James McTaggart. Chloe Morton. William Nicholson. Lewis Craig Phillip. Lee Price. Sean Reedy. Andrew Reid. Nathan Sandison. Natalie Simpson. Gavin Stewart. In aeromechanical engineering, Misra Muhammad Sabeg. Joshua James Beauclerk. Hannah Louise Christine Bruce. Jacob David William Campbell. Cameron McEwen. Kanan Ojagov. Idris Sheikh. Alice Sandals Wild. In mechanical engineering, Patrick Thomas Ayton. Sonny Edward Beanland. Scott Cairns. Daniel Lawrence Carr. Lucas Correa. Louisa May Duffy. Ross Giff. Stephen George Gray. Felipe Rebelo Branches Grossman. Marcus Kim Harvey. Serena Esther Iguamram. Roshan Joseph Tomey. Aish McGrath. Ross Joseph Hugh McMenemy. Ross Meechan. Alice Mucklow. Michael Osilama Otu. Callum Thomas Shearer. Zoe Cara Smith. In Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, Juan Ferragu. In Naval Architecture with High-Performance Marine Vehicles, Maxime Louis Emile Marie Flambard. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Product Design and Innovation, Melissa Goldie. Greg Robson McLachlan. Rosie Elizabeth Cusick Ritchie. For the degree of Postgraduate Diploma in Degree Apprenticeship, Postgraduate Engineering and Engineering Management, Jonathan Laidler. In Supply Chain and Procurement Management, Palak Tandon. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering, Hussein El Khatib. For the degree of Master of Science in Product Design, Pooja Konada Raman. For the degree of Master of Science in Design with Engineering with Sustainability, is Bisso Zaneb Akilu. And finally, for the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Aerospace, Damaraja.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the class of 2024 a big round of applause. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, and now, of course, to our Strathclyde graduates, let me reiterate our very warm welcome to this wonderful ceremony. A day that none of you will forget, because it marks the successful completion of years of hard work. And now you've graduated in front of your proud families, your friends, supporters, and your classmates. And today we welcome visitors from across Scotland, throughout the UK, and of course from a wonderful international community too. We're delighted to see all of you here to join in the celebrations. Importantly, graduates, you are graduating from an institution that values freedom of thought, and we encourage that, of course, and we're a place that seeks to be both tolerant and inclusive, where people of diverse national, cultural and social backgrounds come together here at Strathclyde to experience excellent education and have that wonderful shared student experience too. Because at Strathclyde we all benefit from having students and staff from around 130 different countries. Ours is a socially progressive community, one that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society, because we're plural, we're multicultural, and we try to be enlightened. It's our responsibility at the university, and it's your responsibility as graduates now, to continue to challenge unacceptable practices, including by those in power, by using reason and by exemplifying the best features of modern society. And we do this, of course, the context for you graduating at this time is that we're still experiencing war in Europe because of Russia's illegal action in Ukraine, and we're still witnessing the horror of the conflict and humanitarian disasters, particularly in Gaza, but now spreading into the Lebanon. There has never been a greater need for a new generation of leaders that are professional, ethical and empathetic, with a commitment to tolerance and a sense of purpose, namely, graduates, every one of you that are graduating today. And democracy too is precious, and you're graduating at a time of significant political upheaval and uncertainty around the world. This year, elections are taking place in 65 countries. Around 2 billion people, or a quarter of the world's electorate, are eligible to vote, including, of course, all of us here. And the UK has had a change of government this year, and we wait with bated breath to see the outcome of the American elections this week. But of course, most importantly, we're here to acknowledge your hard work and the learning that you've built up and the successful completion of your degree course. This will now be your passport to making a full contribution in your career and, of course, to society too, in spite of the flux and uncertainty that we're currently facing. And as I said earlier, you're graduating in a very special year for the University of Strathclyde, our Diamond Jubilee anniversary year, marking 60 years since the award of a Royal Charter by the late Queen Elizabeth II, conferring university status on our institution. Through that Royal Charter, what had been the Royal College of Science and Technology became the University of Strathclyde, the first university to be established in Scotland for almost 400 years, and Britain's first technological university. And please note, we're also the 8th oldest institution in the UK. You'll also recall that in this wonderful city of ours, Glasgow hosted COP26, the summit of world leaders that came together here to agree measures to minimise global warming and climate change. And amongst many other world leaders that we hosted and met with, during the conference we had the honour and pleasure of hosting former US President Barack Obama, who came here on our campus. And he came here to speak to young people, activists, engineers, scientists, about the critical role that your generation will play in tackling the climate change issues that mostly my generation has caused. The former president had a very simple but powerful message. He came here rather quietly and secretly, obviously for the sake of security, but through the powers of social media. He came here quietly, but as he left several hours later, there were several hundred people to wave goodbye to him at the Learning and Teaching building. And as he left the building, he paused, he waved to the crowds and had a great afternoon, but he said a simple phrase to those that were gathered, and that was, "Get active." And I say that to all of you graduates today. Get active, whatever that might mean in your professional career and your personal regard as well, as you make a difference. Your generation will make the difference. You are the solution providers and you're the leaders that will navigate us out of the challenges that we face. And to be a little bit more local, I was born in a sunny hamlet of Glasgow called Govan, just on the other side of the Clyde. And that town's motto is nihil sine labore. And for the Latin scholars amongst you, it basically means that you achieve nothing without hard work. And I try to embrace that ethos every day, and I would recommend that you take a similar approach, because you're smart, you're accomplished, you've got great ambitions, but never forget, please, that applying yourself with some energy and with some determination can make all the difference. Because now you become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of the university's torchbearers, just like those from many generations that have gone before you. And with all that you've now successfully come through, I'm sure you would agree that you could not have achieved any of that without the backing and encouragement of the community of supporters around you. And it's fitting that we acknowledge their contribution in the successful completion of your university studies. The graduates in particular, and the university at large, owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. So, graduates and university staff, please join me in giving a big thank you to those in the hall that have supported our graduates. And for our outstanding academic and support staff too, this is a very important day indeed, because ultimately your success is their reward, because we've worked hard to provide you with a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of backgrounds. So, graduates and those in the hall, please join me now in saying a big thank you to the academics in the hall with us. So as you leave us today, it's important, please remember a little bit about your institution. We were founded in 1796, so we're now 228 years old, although I still like to think of us as a 200-year-old startup organisation, retaining that sense of entrepreneurship, excitement and purpose as in the time of our establishment. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. We were established, and I quote in the language of the day, for the benefit of all mankind. And we were the only institution to be established in the UK during the time of the Enlightenment, and that's a real distinction for our university. And we continue to drive the university strategy in that same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant for the 21st century. Our founder, Professor John Anderson, who was a physicist, or as they would have had it in those days, a natural philosopher with some good engineering capability too, he had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the American inventor and academic. And Franklin was the founder, or one of the founders, of the University of Pennsylvania in 1751 under the motto of useful knowledge. And that intrigued and excited our founder, and it influenced his thinking. And he wanted to have created, through his will, a place of useful learning. And that's our motto, and please remember that. It defines what we are about: useful learning, education, research and innovation, put to the benefit of society and the economy. And it's never been more relevant since we were established over 200 years ago. So please take that with you today. It defines our purpose as a leading international technological university that is also committed to being socially progressive. For example, across our campus and in the buildings that you will have passed today on your way to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight disease. For example, we have several drugs in clinical trials in the areas of cancer diagnostics and treatment, kidney disease and infection management, and indeed inflammatory diseases. Strathclyders are producing the energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to help establish a truly low-carbon economy as we move to net zero. We're revolutionising global manufacturing and helping to drive the fourth industrial revolution, or so-called Industry 4.0, through robotics, AI, automation. And our students continue their work in low-income countries, establishing clean water and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems in remote communities, and introducing new telecommunications infrastructure alongside our academics, truly inspiring. And they're also bringing knowledge and technology transfer to other countries on prosthetic limb and bioengineering technologies to those in need. And just as well as engineering and applied sciences, we're also working to inform public policy here in Scotland and in the UK on national strategies such as education, health, energy and innovation strategies and beyond. And our staff in the Technology and Innovation Centre, just down in George Street, £100 million investment on our part. We're working with industry on low-carbon energy, on photonics, the science of light, and pharmaceuticals. The well-known American inventor, Thomas Edison, another electrical engineer, called his technical teams and laboratories his inventions factory. The TIC has become Scotland's innovations factory. And we've further reinforced Strathclyde's leadership by creating Scotland's first innovation district, as recognised by the Scottish Government about 5 years ago, here in the heart of the city, the Glasgow City Innovation District, in partnership with the city, with Scottish Enterprise, Chamber of Commerce, and many, many industrial partners. We're working on medtech, on fintech, quantum technologies, industrial AI, 5G and 6G communications, and space technology. And in our own city, who knew? Not enough people, that outside California, Glasgow has the biggest industrial base for manufacturing small satellites. About 150 companies in and around this city, driving the new industrial capability in the west of Scotland. And recently, one of our alum, a successful business person and investor, Charles Wang, gave us a £50 million donation to help accelerate these activities. And we're currently about to start building the Charles Wang Advanced Technology and Innovation Centre at the old Student Union building, for those of you that can remember it. And out at Glasgow Airport, and the departments that are being celebrated today have been really behind the successes academically. Anya Meyer and Brad Wynne, who are on the stage with me today. We have the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland and the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre. Over £200 million investment, again, resetting the manufacturing capability in Scotland. So many people said that manufacturing had left. Well, certainly had declined, but Strathclyde is at the sharp end now of capturing that capability once again. Thousands of high-value jobs and acting as a magnet to bring investment into this country. So with that commitment to useful learning, we continue to provide business and industry with the tools that they need to be more innovative and productive, and to promote economic growth, helping to create jobs that provide us all with a quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. But most importantly, graduates and guests, we are providing people with the opportunity to transform their lives and the lives of their families. As I remember well, we still have the very high proportion of students that are first-generation university students to Strathclyde, like myself. I was the first one in my family to go to university, and I came here. I was made welcome, I was well educated, and they launched me into my career. So, at the Strathclyde University here and in the engineering faculty, we have much to celebrate, and we continue to demonstrate that we have a disproportionate impact, principally through all of you. We do wonderful research, and much of it world-leading or internationally excellent, but it's through you. You are our finest product. It's you that go there and make a difference to business, industry, commerce, third sector, and the education sector and beyond, because we create value and impact by translating our knowledge to the benefit of society. And we're a driver for sustainable economic growth too, and we have a distinct role there. Universities in the UK, whilst they are expensive places to run, mustn't be seen as a cost. For every pound that comes into a university, we deliver over £14 of value back into the economy. If I was an investor, that's a place where I would put a pound, and you're part of that machine. And certainly the achievements of our students in the Faculty of Engineering throughout the last year gives me great confidence for the future. And I can only give you a few of the highlights, but some of them are truly inspiring. So, for example, in the Department of Design, Manufacturing and Engineering Management, funded by the European Horizon Europe programme, they are reshaping the landscape of alloy coatings. Very important, by harnessing the power of advanced software and computational modelling. And this is an initiative that's moving towards more greener, safer, most cost-effective ways of technologically advanced coatings. In the faculty also, a private pop-up 5G network was designed by engineers here at Strathclyde, and we've spun a company out as a consequence. And that was the core communications hub that beamed the live footage of the coronation of King Charles III and the Queen across the globe. They won 2 prestigious industry international awards and have produced this potentially game-changing technology, reducing the reliance on fixed wire connections. And they were also, and you couldn't have known it, they were also responsible for communicating the opening ceremony at the Paris Olympics, putting in the comms infrastructure that the international communications community took advantage of. In architecture, we are a partner in a major programme looking at the reduction of carbon emissions from high-density housing in the UK. So net zero, of course, is a big challenge as we decarbonise energy supplies, but one of the biggest challenges is to decarbonise the housing stock. There are over 20 million dwellings and houses around the UK, so that is going to be a tough nut to crack. But the Centre for Net Zero High-Density Buildings is now working on new technologies for low-carbon materials, heating and cooling systems and energy storage, which will drive that forward. Strathclyde and the shipping company Oldendorff Carriers are setting up a research centre for sustainable shipping with the Department, of course, of Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering, working together on sustainable shipping issues to support international and regional efforts to decarbonise the industry. Again, that's another industry which is pivotal in international trade and communications and transport, but it's one of the more polluting industries that we have to focus our attentions on, and this university is at the heart of all of that. So these and many more, that's the context in which you should view your awards. You're graduating from a university that places our students at the heart of everything that we do. We value excellence in both education and research, and we create strong connections with society at large as well as with the business world. And we are an international technological university. Like many of the other world's best universities, we collaborate and compete in equal measure with those around the globe. I've just come back from a trip to China. I just came back this weekend. And out there, we worked with our partners, including Peking and Tsinghua universities, the number 1 and 2 universities, both based in Beijing, and the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. These are 3 world-leading research and education institutions, choosing to work with Strathclyde because of what we've been achieving in recent years. Great education, internationally relevant programmes, and research that matches the very best around the world. Also working in North America with big names in the academic world, including Stanford, MIT, New York University, and with our partners in Canada at Waterloo University near Toronto. And we have a raft of partnerships across the EU. In spite of the disruption that Brexit brought us, through what's referred to as the soft power of universities, we've maintained meaningful links. That's important for our students, their employment opportunities, and indeed the exchange of ideas still with the European project alive and doing well, and we have to stay connected to it. And we've just created a new Middle East hub in Bahrain, giving us access to the strategic opportunities in research and education in the Middle East, and also the first UK institution to have a physical presence in Saudi Arabia. Again, a place that's in transition, but where we can make a difference, and we're working there with Princess Noura University, the world's biggest all-female university, with 35,000 women being educated, with an outstanding all-female leadership team. That's where we make a difference. That socially progressive piece means that we're educating the women that will be part of that wave of change in that country and in that region. And of course, all of you, our students, have benefited directly from being part of an international university, helping you to develop the skills necessary for yourselves and indeed for Scotland and your own countries to play a full part in the world. And our students have been exposed to the richness and the value of different cultures and traditions. Never forget that. But most importantly, you're graduating today not only as Strathclyde graduates, but as well-educated global citizens. And you've heard me mentioning socially progressive a couple of times. We remain the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening participation in our programmes. And for students from some of the most challenged communities in Scotland, low attainment communities that I come from, But this university opens its doors wide to those with the capability, ambition and vision to pursue their education. And almost 1,300 join us every year, predominantly young people. They come here, we nurture them from primary and secondary school. They come here, we get them in, we keep them in, we educate them, and then we launch them forward into their careers. And yet, with all of that, we still retain the joint 5th highest entrance qualifications in UK higher education, making a nonsense of the notion if you have that widening participation strategy, you're lowering your standards. Not a bit of it. It means that we have that strategic focus on doing that with all the right reasons. And I talked about graduation ceremonies. Our first graduation ceremony of the year is our Young Strathclyder graduation, where we engage with about 15 primary schools and now about 8 secondary schools around Glasgow, and they come here to graduate with their gowns and their mortarboards. And these young people, aged 5 to 12, come across the stage wearing all of their graduation robes, and they graduate from the Strathclyde's Young Strathclyder programme. And I particularly enjoy that because it's one of the few graduation ceremonies where I get to look tall. And they're here with their mums and their dads and their grannies and their teachers, and the sense of accomplishment and purpose. If I could bottle it, I'd have a new form of renewable energy, letting these young people know that this place is for them. Because just as my family did, they'd walk past places like this thinking it's not for them and they wouldn't know what was going on in these places. But that's what Strathclyde's about, making a difference and doing it with humility, but doing it with purpose. So, if I characterise your university in 2024, I'd describe us as still being distinctive and having ambition, focus and momentum, continuing our work with the same agility and commitment so necessary to absorb the fluctuations and the uncertainty in the world of politics and economy, the uncertainties that all of us face. It's an enormous privilege for me to leave this great institution with the outstanding support I get from my executive team, from the academic community and from our support staff and professional services. And I firmly believe that our founder, John Anderson, from the Enlightenment period, would recognise what we're trying to do as truly useful learning. And we now seek, in this modern society, to be an agent for positive change. And take that with you as well, please, graduates. You are the change agents, making a change here in Glasgow, in Scotland, in the UK, and far beyond. And to all of you in the Barony Hall this morning, I'm certain that today's graduates will have an enormous impact in society and the professional world, and that 2024 can truly become a vintage year. You've shown resilience and great application, and now you've achieved great success, and hopefully you've had a little bit of fun on the way too. We're all very proud of you. So with that in mind, and as you leave the hall today, you'll leave not just with your award, but with a responsibility. As today's graduates, you now join our alumni community. The number's over 210,000 individuals since Her Majesty the late Queen gave us this mace. Around the world, making a difference. And when I was in China last week, I met numerous Strathclyders that are there, either Chinese graduates or folk from Scotland are out there pursuing their career. That's that community that you're bringing. So please remember, whatever you do with your degree and whatever you choose to pursue your career, truly useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefits of others, make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to, and never forget the communities that you belong to. Respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and please reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance, because these characterise the very core values of your university. And let me return to today's celebration. We're all here to mark the achievements of those who have been awarded their degrees. So on behalf of the university, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to each and every one of you and wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us. Let us know how you're developing. And well done again. And please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you. Oh, good. Fiona, as always, has given me the digital signal of a thumbs up, which means the weather's not bad outside. So once we close the ceremony, we shall process from the stage, and of course the graduates will follow us out the hall, and we're very much welcoming you to the Learning and Teaching building, where we have a reception where we can enjoy a drink and get a chance to speak to one or two of you. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're very proud of our new graduates, and I'm sure you'll wish them all the very best. Thanks for your attention, and I now declare the celebration closed. Please be upstanding. Thank you very much.